Hi everyone, so coming to you again with our April routine for our Yoga for Runners and Cyclists session. Once again, another really popular class that we run at our Macclesfield studio that hopefully you can gain a lot from to help make running a little bit easier or the cycling perhaps a little bit easier. Lots of videos we've been doing over the last year or so offering out to you guys, so do go through everything we've had previously as well. But today we're going to be working on muscles all around the hips. So we're going to come onto our back. There's nothing that you need equipment wise at all, just a little bit of space. Come on down onto the back. And the first one, while still working on the hips, is actually working across the lower back as well. So we're going to stay on our back for a moment and we're going to bend through the knees and take the arms out wide. Tabletop the legs, so hopefully my hips are at 90 degrees or thereabouts. Same goes for the knees. We're going to take both legs over towards the right hand side and you're going to allow those legs to come to rest, hopefully somewhere down on the floor. We want to make sure that the knees have stayed glued together. What might happen is maybe they'll separate a little bit like that. Try and really keep them together at the knees and at the ankles. Generally the rest of the leg will then follow. And what you might notice is from there, your left shoulder might have lifted off the floor. So we're going to try and work on getting that shoulder back down. And the twist that's going to be happening all the way up the spine is going to be releasing the muscles at the very lower back. A little bit in the lower back as well for sure. But we're really releasing everything around that lower back and hips region. So the arms are out wide to give you that balance, but we're now going to take your right hand, take it up to the ceiling, and then all the way across to the left side. You want to imagine you're trying to hold your left hand. So you're really reaching that right hand across the body, as far down the left arm as we can, and we're also looking over to that left side also. Still keeping those knees together, the ankles together. You should be feeling a really good stretch. Well, I've actually just about managed to get my left shoulder down onto the floor already. But you still might find that you start off doing this exercise and your left shoulder doesn't get down. That's fine. But remember that the goal is to get your shoulder onto the floor. Good stuff. We're just going to hold that. Best thing to do when we're here now is just to breathe long and slow breaths. The deeper the breath, the more it's going to expand the thoracic cavity, our ribs essentially, but also through the lower back as well, so the deeper the stretch we're going to get. So just the last couple of long breaths there, keeping knees and ankles together. And then you can release when you're ready. Place both hands into the floor and then bring your legs back up. Make sure you get those hands down there, that'll support you nicely when you do that. And when you're ready, obviously you'll go over to the other side. I'm going to come up to seated now to show you the next move and to keep this video nice and short for you all. So, once we get up tall, you're going to push the soles of your feet together. We're allowing the knees to drop out to the side as far as possible. And you're sitting up nice and tall, creating a bind with the feet if you can, but somewhere down the shins, ankle, fine. And we're just going to draw ourselves forwards. So I'm going to come side on now in just a second so you get an idea of how far forwards we're really looking to come. It's a very, very small movement. So, from side on, most important thing to begin with is we get tall. You might find that having a block or something underneath the bum, so a book or a couple of cushions, anything that you've got knocking around at home, will help you get vertical. That's the most important thing to begin with. Once we are vertical, use that bind that you've got to start to draw yourself forward. Keep the spine nice and straight, remembering that the neck is still just an extension of that spine. And we just slowly draw further and further forwards. You might find that you can only get a few degrees, especially if you're tight in those inner thighs. You might find if you're actually a little bit more mobile than you thought, that you can actually get a lot further forwards. Just like before, just long, slow breaths are the best way of easing into any of these stretches. Good. What we'd do is we'd hold that just for a little while. When you reach the natural boundary that you get to, you just breathe through that. Just take your time. Don't try and force it any further. Just if you hold that for maybe a good 30 seconds, you'll notice that the stretch starts to ease and you can actually drop a little bit further. But don't rush it. It's a slow process. You will slowly improve. And then when you're ready, bring yourself up in exactly the same way, so you're getting up nice and tall. Fab. Our final one, probably one of the trickier ones that we've gone through for a few months, but we're going to give it a go anyway. We'll see how we get on. I'm going to start off facing this way, but I might turn around in a moment for you to see what's happening with my hands when we do it. You're going to hug your leg in nice and close. Get yourself up real tall and extend the right leg away from you. Okay, so we're up really tall. You might find that you want to add a couple of rotations to this, so it will be just taking your left hand behind, returning to centre, right hand behind, returning to centre, just to release off that lower back a little bit whilst we're here. We're going to take both hands, place them on the floor, either side of this outstretched right leg, and we're inside of this left leg. So we're no longer over the outside of the leg. You've brought the left arm inside. We get tall, and we slide forwards, as if you were reaching for your right foot. Don't worry if you don't get there. If you do, great, you can hold on to it and it'll help you pull a little bit further forwards. We have still got both sitting bones in contact with the floor. We're not leaning away at all. Keeping nice and close in through this leg. And if we are able to get our shoulder on our left side, either level or perhaps just in front of this left knee, you'll find you're able to wrap this left arm around, bring the right hand around to join it, and you can make a nice strong bind behind you. And you're pulling yourself forwards then, using that bind, you'll find it actually gets easier and easier to sink further forwards. And this is really good for releasing those hips and the lower back. It's a really, really good move to try and do. Again, don't expect to be able to be great at this straight away. You might find that actually it's a little bit tricky to make the binds behind the back to begin with. So what I suggest, if you are kind of somewhere between the two, you can almost get your shoulder in front but not quite. Grab yourself a belt, a band or a towel or anything that you've got knocking around at home. If I kind of turn a little bit off to the side, you'll see what I mean. You could then wrap that arm around and say this right hand's kind of here somewhere. You could hold a band in between the two hands, and eventually as things get easier, the hands will come closer and closer until eventually you can just make that really strong bind and pull yourself further forwards. So then even a little stretch into the hips on this one, into the hips and into the shoulders and the upper back. And release there. And as always, of course, you are going to go on to the other side and even the body out a little bit. So thank you once more, Ian. Have a look through all the old videos that we've put out there for you, and I shall see you next month with some more moves. Take care of yourselves, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye.